Today we will revise lesson 6 Life Processes. Describe the structure and functioning of the nephron. We draw the structure of the nephron. Then it is a cup-shaped capsule. This is called the Bowman capsule. Bowman capsule. Here is the group of the blood vessels that is called glomerulus. Now this is called PCT or proximal convoluted tubules, and this is the loop of Henle. This is called DCT or distal convoluted tubules, and this is called the collecting duct. This is called collecting duct. A nephron is made up of the glomerulus double-walled Bowman capsule around a clump of capillaries of glomerulus and tubules surrounded by the blood capillaries. The tube consists of the proximal convoluted tubules, loop of Henle, and the descending and ascending limb and the distal convoluted tubules or part. Nephron empties into a collecting duct. The 2 million nephron of human being end of end would extend the nearly 80 km. All the collecting ducts discharge into a central cavity of the kidney that connects the ureter. Now the functioning of the nephron. It occurs in the 3 steps. First is the glomerulus filtration. This is also called the ultrafiltration. Here the filtration of the blood take place, and next this process. In this tube there is the reabsorption of the substance, and here is this is called the tubular secretion. Here tubular secretion take place. Ultrafiltration. Blood is filtered under pressure in the glomerulus present in the cup-like structure of the Bowman capsule. Glomerulus filtrate is formed. Tubular reabsorption. In the PCT, this is PCT or proximal convoluted tubules. Entire glucose, amino acid, vitamins, minerals, hormones, most of the inorganic ions are reabsorbed by the active transport here. Most of the water by osmosis and some urea by back diffusion from the nephric filtrate. Loop of Henle mainly concentrate urine to conserve water. Here some inorganic ions are actively taken up and some water leaves by the osmosis. Now the tubular secretion take place in DCT, distilled convoluted tubules. Distilled convoluted tubules and collecting duct, many ion, water depending upon availability are secreted into the DCT and the collecting duct. Urine formed passes into the bladder from kidney through the ureter. This is present in the kidney. This is present in the kidney. And here this kidney is attached with the ureter. Then come to the urinary bladder, and this is urethra. In this, nephron are present in the kidney. Now the next question. What are the methods used by the plant to get rid of the excretory product? Excretion in the plants. Excess of water passes out during the transpiration. Transpiration is the process of loss of water vapor from the aerial part of the plant. Plant get rid of the dead tissue as a measure to eliminate waste. Waste product may be stored in the cellular vacuoles. Waste product may be stored in the leaves which fall off. Resins and gums are stored in the old xylem. Plants also excrete waste into the soil through roots. Aquatic plants lose their waste product by diffusion into the water. How is the amount of urine produced regulated? Amount of urine formed depend upon the availability of the water in the body. ADH, antidiuretic hormone, regulate the amount of water. Osmoregulation, help in regulation of salt and water. Urine is stored in the urinary bladder. Now next question, the kidney in the human being are part of the system. Kidney is related with the excretion. The xylem in plant are responsible for the transport of water. Phototrophic mode of nutrition require all of these: CO2, water, chlorophyll and sunlight. The breakdown of pyruvate to give CO2, water and energy take place in the mitochondria because this is the aerobic form of respiration. Question, how are fat digested in our bodies? Where does the process take place? Process of digestion is take place in the intestine. Lipase are the enzyme which hydrolyzes the fat and the fat are emulsified. This is digested by the process of the emulsification. The fat are emulsified by the bile salt present in the bile. The emulsified fat are acted upon the pancreatic lipase, which hydrolyzes fat into the fatty acid and glycerol. The intestinal lipase also hydrolyzes the emulsified fat into the fatty acid and glycerol. First, fats emulsified by the bile salt into the emulsified fat. Emulsified fat then change into the fatty acid and glycerol by the help of intestinal lipase and pancreatic lipase. What is the role of saliva in digestion of food? Saliva lubricate the food and facilitate mastication. Saliva binds the food molecule. Saliva contains ptyalin enzyme which act on the starch, glycogen and other carbohydrates to form the maltose. What are the necessary conditions for autotrophic nutrition and their byproduct? Autotrophic nutrition, photosynthesis is required for this condition, and for photosynthesis we need CO2, sunlight, water, chlorophyll, and the byproduct is oxygen. What are the difference between aerobic and anaerobic respiration? Aerobic respiration takes place in presence of oxygen, anaerobic takes place in the absence of oxygen. It is completed in the cytoplasm and mitochondria. Anaerobic takes place only in the cytoplasm. It involves the complete oxidation of glucose into CO2 and H2O, and large amount of energy is released. It takes place in the multicellular organism. It involves the incomplete oxidation of glucose into CO2 and alcohol and lactic acid, and less amount of energy is released, and it is take place in bacteria, yeast and muscle cells. Next question, what would be the consequences of the deficiency of hemoglobin in our bodies? Hemoglobin is a respiratory pigment. It is present in the RBC of the blood. Hemoglobin has high affinity for the oxygen. One molecule of hemoglobin carries 4 molecules of oxygen. If simple diffusion were to move oxygen in our body, it is estimated that it would take 3 years for a molecule of oxygen to reach top of toes from lungs. Describe double circulation in the human being. Before we have discussed about the structure of the heart. Now if we look at here, first blood come from the different body part to the right auricle, and then right auricle to right ventricle, and then goes to the lungs, and again blood come back to the left auricle and left ventricle and supplied to the body parts, and from this body parts again blood goes to the right auricle. In this circle blood goes 2 times in the heart. This is called the double circulation. Here the circulation takes place through the lungs. This is called the pulmonary transportation or pulmonary circulation. Double circulation. In human being, heart is 4 chambered having right and left auricle and right and left ventricle. The right auricle receives the deoxygenated blood from the body and sends it into the right ventricle. Then it pumps it to the lungs to a pulmonary arc for the oxygenation. The left auricle receives oxygenated blood from the lungs and send it back to the left ventricle. Here from the right ventricle, deoxygenated blood goes to the lungs for purification or oxygenation and then come back to the left auricle. This is called pulmonary circulation. and the blood from the left ventricle goes to the different body parts and then right auricle, and this is called the systemic circulation. In this complete cycle, blood goes 2 times into the heart. This is called the double circulation. What are the differences between the transport of materials in xylem and phloem? Transport in xylem. Xylem transport water and mineral, but phloem transports sucrose, amino acid and other substances through the phloem. Xylem help in the upward movement, but phloem help in the downward movement. And xylem, that is from roots to stem, branches and leaves, but phloem is responsible for downward and lateral movement from leaves to other parts. Compare the functioning of alveoli in the lungs and nephron in the kidney with respect to their structure and functioning. Alveoli of lungs remove CO2 as a waste product, exchange of gases, and nephron filter the waste from the blood. Alveoli are supplied with the extensive network of blood capillaries for gaseous exchange. Bowman capsule surrounds a cluster of the capillaries for filtration. Both increase the surface area, either for gaseous exchange or filtration. Urea and uric acid waste are removed in the nephron. Both purify blood, lungs, alveoli by removing waste gases, and nephron by filtering the waste product in the form of urine. Hope I am clearing your doubt. If you have any doubt or any problem, then you can share your comment. Then I will try to solve your problem. Thank you.